Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angel in case you're new here, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my temperature blanket from 2021 today because I noticed that for some reason my 2022 planning video was doing really well. So I'm assuming a lot of these new subscribers, a lot of you people out there are because of temperature blankets. So let's talk a little bit about my blanket that I did last year. I have it currently on the floor, which is kind of disrespectful, but I had to measure it. But my temperature blanket measures 4.5 feet wide by 9 feet long, which is a lot. It's much larger than I anticipated it being. Measurements for like a standard Afghan, like something you have on the couch, are usually like 50 by 60 inches, and mine is about 53 by 108, which is very rough because I don't have something long enough to actually measure it. So I measured it, multiplied it, you know what I mean. I used the standard like 4-weight worsted weight yarn from Hobby Lobby. I really like this yarn because for the majority, all of the colors are very soft. It is an acrylic yarn. So sometimes with acrylic yarns, if you're unfamiliar, you have that ability for it to get like really scratchy or really weird and plasticky feeling. And I don't feel like any of the yarns that I used this year were plasticky feeling. If you're also curious, here's a list of all the yarns that I used this year. I will be completely honest, I was not counting as I went, but I will say I think I used maybe between like 15 to 20 skeins of yarn on this, and I do have several leftover skeins because some of them, my gauge for temperature kind of weird, so I didn't realize I would have virtually no temperatures for like 0 to 10 and then like so many for the summertime. So I definitely was learning my lesson a bit. And if you've seen some of my other videos, I have done one other temperature blanket in the past, but this is my first successful like fully done temperature blanket, and I have learned a lot. I learned that I definitely want to do things differently for 2022. I will talk about my 2022 blanket in another video, probably mid to late month. I know we're kind of already mid-month now, but I'm not going to talk about that here. I did want to show you my finished temperature blanket for 2021. After I show you the blanket, I am going to go over some things I learned this year, some things that I would suggest you do if you are starting a blanket, and I guess like just general tips and tricks if you do get caught behind. Here is my temperature blanket, and we can see a predominant theme. We have a lot of peaches. This is the summery months here, and blues for wintry. And then like the super hot months ended up being green because I have no concept of what I wanted to do. This blanket changed a lot last year. It is a little scraggly in some spots. It's already starting to kind of like get fuzzy and stuff because I have taken a few naps in this and enjoyed its warm presence. So starting in January, I don't have separations between the months, but we have January starting at the top, and I will just kind of roughly go through. It's not going to be pretty. I'm not going to have this beautiful scape that shows you kind of like over in the mountains somewhere in a field where I show you my blanket. Oh, gosh, I think this is probably like September, October-y. And then, oh, never mind, there's December. That's me. The end of my blanket up at the top here. So you can kind of tell hot months were these greens here, because greens I believe were my like 60s to 80s, and the cooler months were blue and gray. That gray specifically got so little time because I did very little temperatures in that range. So all that to be said, I'm gonna sit down now. I'm gonna put this back on the couch and we're gonna chat a little bit about some tips. First, I do wanna talk a bit about yarn and just general supplies. So like I said, I did choose a Hobby Lobby yarn. There's a Hobby Lobby like very close to where I live and where I work. So this was very convenient for me because it meant that if I ran out of a yarn, if I ran out of the specific color, I could just go the next day to the store and grab it. And that is a huge thing when making a temperature blanket. I had done some videos previously where I had hauled a bunch of paint box yarn, which is not yarn that I can get in the store. I don't know if anybody can, I might be wrong. So I would definitely recommend getting one of those staple brands of yarn from a store. So Joann Fabrics has Big Twist. They also usually have like Red Heart, and then Michaels has their own, I think it's like Loops and something. No, I think they have like Impeccable is their basic worsted weight 4 yarn, and I really like theirs. And then for Hobby Lobby, it was, I think it's like I Love This Yarn or something. And they're all weight 4 from what I recall, and there are a ton ton of colors available. I want to say they all have a pretty similar range, but I think that choosing the right yarn that you have that's readily accessible is a big step in planning your temperature blanket, because you don't want to be waiting around for colors. You don't want to have to pay like $3, $4, $5 in shipping just to get one skein of yarn. And it really like adds to the annoyance of falling behind in your temperature blanket if you don't have easy access. Another thing is having a specific set of items set aside at all times so that you can access them for your blanket. Depending on the week, I like to work on my blanket like maybe one day at a time, but then I get frustrated because I only have one row to do. So if you do want to readily have access to it or work on it pretty frequently, I would especially say like have a specific bag or like a project bag for your crochet that you have like right near where you're going to sit and work on it. And then also have like a specific set of scissors, a specific needle for it. You want to make sure that you don't lose those things. You don't forget what needle size you're using. Also, when I say needle, I mean my crochet hook. I crocheted this blanket if you're not aware. So I would just say like put all your notions in one spot, have everything readily accessible so that when you do sit down and you want to catch up on things, you don't have to dig around for them every time, set up like a whole thing where you're going to sit down and crochet or knit or whatever. I think also just having something that looks pretty. It seems so simple, but like actually liking the colors you picked, actually liking the stitch you're working on, liking where you sit down and work on your project every day is super important. I know that my favorite hook size is a 5.5 millimeter, so I use that all year round for this blanket. And I really love the moss stitch, which I think is also called the linen stitch, where you basically do like a single crochet, a chain, and then a single crochet, and it just repeats forever. And I just feel like it builds really well, and it made it super fast, a super fast experience. Because spoiler alert, I only worked on this blanket from August to December of 2021. I did not start this one last January. And then color wise, I really did not like the colors that I picked out for my blanket. I had intentioned for it not to look like a rainbow, but I kind of still made it into a rainbow, which is really annoying to me. What ended up being my hottest color was green, and I didn't want it to be. I had actually wanted something more along the lines of like a wine color red, something that actually signified more of a red hot, like a summertime color, and it wasn't available from the yarn that I picked, so I ended up sticking with green because there was 2 shades of it, and I wasn't entirely happy about it. I think that the peach and green look really cool together, but I would not have chosen those colors from the get-go. Something else really important, even aside from supplies, what you're doing physically, is just setting up your temperature gauge and creating a physical gauge for the temperatures. Like, that sounds so simple, but actually like having a physical piece in front of you with all the colors, writing out the names of the yarn, having an actual piece of the yarn there, so if you do have a lot of similar colors, you can match it up to something, super essential in making your temperature blanket successful. Because if you can't figure out what hell yarn you use for each color, or you don't remember your temperature like ranges, you're not gonna be able to keep up with it, and it's gonna make it more frustrating. I think something else that's really cool is also gaining motivation by other people being excited in your project. Definitely not something that's essential, but I did post quite a bit about my blanket on this channel, and then I talked about it on Twitter and Instagram, and seeing other people be like really excited to see what I was working on, and they're telling me that they're gonna do a temperature blanket, kind of motivated me more to do the temperature blanket. So if you have like a friend group that's into creating and also working on a blanket, or maybe they just want to like be crafty with you or talk to you about it, like definitely like have them hype you up a little bit. I think it's super easy for other people's excitement to rub off on you, and then you get excited and then you want to work on it, and it makes it easier to stick with. Altogether, that's some sort of list of things that is kind of useful as advice, and I hope that you're able to use it in whatever you work on. Honestly, any big project, like I'm not doing this as a career, I do this for enjoyment. And so if I am able to kind of like make it fun for myself, it definitely makes the blanket and the time go by faster. And I think organization is always super helpful for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you liked this final glimpse of my 2021 temperature blanket. Definitely won't be the last time that you see it, because it'll probably be in backgrounds, or I'll be cuddled in it in a vlog or something. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for supporting the channel, watching the video, liking the video, and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, or if you'd like, just leave me a cat emoji down in the comments. Let me know you watched this far. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.